Imagine this. You're asleep in your own bed. It's 5 a.m. The air outside is still, the house silent, until suddenly the world explodes. A deafening boom, glass shatters, and your front door flies off its hinges. Flashbang grenades light up the living room. Men in black tactical gear storm inside, shouting commands you can't even process. You're dragged to the floor, cuffed, and staring down the barrel of an assault rifle. And the worst part? You didn't do anything wrong. The FBI just hit the wrong house. Now imagine when you try to hold them accountable, when you sue the government for destroying your home and traumatizing your family. They look you straight in the eye and say, "You can't." But here's the twist. This exact nightmare went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And what those 9 justices just decided could completely change how Americans hold federal agents accountable. So today, we're breaking down the real story behind the FBI's wrong house raid, the shocking legal loopholes that almost protected them, and the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling that might just rewrite the rules for every citizen in the country. The story begins back in 2017 in a quiet Atlanta suburb. A woman named Katrina Martin lived there with her boyfriend and her 7-year-old son, a normal family, living a normal life. But one early morning, that peace shattered. A team of FBI agents, armed and ready for a pre-dawn gang raid, rolled into the neighborhood. Their mission: to take down dangerous suspects believed to be hiding in a specific house. Only, they never made it to that house. Instead, the lead agent, Lawrence Guerrera, relied on his personal GPS. He typed the address into his phone, and it took him to a completely different location. Katrina Martin's home. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. The agent smashed through the door, tossed in flashbang grenades, and swarmed inside. Her boyfriend, panicking, tried to hide in a closet. Her son woke up to men shouting and guns drawn. Within minutes, the family was handcuffed, terrified, and completely innocent. When one agent finally looked down at a piece of mail on the coffee table, reality hit them like a hammer. They had the wrong house. Imagine trying to explain that to your child. The fear doesn't fade when the agents leave. It lingers in every creak of the house, every slam of a door. The Martin family's sense of safety was gone. And when they sought justice, that's when the second nightmare began. They filed a lawsuit under something called the Federal Tort Claims Act, or FTCA. This law is supposed to let citizens sue the federal government for wrongful acts committed by its employees while on duty. Sounds fair, right? But the FBI had a card up its sleeve. They argued that they were immune, that because the raid involved discretionary decisions, and because the agents were acting under federal authority, the government couldn't be held responsible. In plain English, that meant, we made a mistake, but you can't sue us for it. Here's where things get wild. The government leaned on 2 key loopholes. The first was the intentional tort exception. Normally, under the FTCA, you can't sue for things like assault, battery, or false arrest if those acts were part of an official duty. But there's a catch. There's also something called the law enforcement proviso, which says that if the wrongdoing is committed by a federal officer with the power to arrest or seize evidence, you can sue them. The second loophole was called the discretionary function exception. This one basically says that if an agent makes a judgment call in the course of their job, even a bad one, the government might not be liable. So when Agent Guerrera used his personal GPS instead of verified coordinates, the FBI claimed that was a discretionary decision. In other words, they argued that typing the wrong address into a phone, a decision that ended with flashbangs and guns pointed at a 7-year-old, was legally protected. When Katrina Martin and her family sued, the district court in Georgia sided with the FBI. Then the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals agreed. Both courts essentially said, yeah, the FBI made a mistake, but that's part of their discretionary authority. That's when the family decided to take their fight to the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, here's the thing. The Supreme Court doesn't take every case. They review thousands of petitions each year, but hear only a handful. So when they agreed to take this one, legal experts knew something big was coming. In a rare moment of unity, all 9 justices ruled unanimously in favor of the Martin family. The opinion, written by Justice Neil Gorsuch, made it crystal clear the government doesn't get a free pass just because its agents made a decision under their authority. The court said, in essence, that accountability must apply even to the most powerful law enforcement agencies in the country. Gorsuch wrote that the FTCA was never meant to be a blank check for government immunity. Instead, he said, liability should be judged by the same standards that would apply to a private citizen under state law. If a private investigator kicked down the wrong door, held a mother and child at gunpoint, and blew up their living room with flashbangs, he'd be sued, and rightfully so. So why should the federal government be any different? This ruling might seem narrow, but its implications stretch far beyond this one case. Because what the court really did was draw a line in the sand. They said, if a government agent violates your rights through reckless action, wrong house, wrong person, wrong call, you can hold them accountable. And for millions of gun owners, this matters deeply. Why? Because overreach isn't limited to raids. Every time a lawful gun owner faces harassment, wrongful confiscation, or improper search, this precedent reinforces their right to challenge it in court. For too long, immunity has been used as a shield against accountability. But with this ruling, the Supreme Court effectively said, enough. After the Supreme Court's decision, the case didn't end. It went back down to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. The Department of Justice was ordered to submit a new brief explaining how the ruling affects the case going forward. But they've already tried to stall. As of now, they've asked for extensions, claiming they can't proceed due to the federal government shutdown. Still, the writing is on the wall. The FBI will have to face the consequences of its mistake in open court. And when that happens, it will set a powerful example. That no badge, no matter how shiny, puts someone above the law. Here's why this story should matter to you. Because this ruling isn't just about one family in Georgia. It's about the principle of government accountability. If the federal government can burst into your home, threaten your family, and then claim immunity for bad judgment, then the very foundation of your constitutional rights crumbles. But the Supreme Court just sent a message that echoes through every courtroom in the country. Not anymore. They reminded everyone, agents, officers, officials, that authority comes with responsibility. And if that responsibility is abused, the American people still have a path to justice. The Martin family's nightmare could happen to anyone. It wasn't about guns, drugs, or crime. It was about a typo, a GPS error, and a lack of accountability. But their courage to fight back against one of the most powerful law enforcement agencies in the world sparked a change that might protect countless others in the future. And that's why this case matters. Because at the end of the day, justice isn't about power, it's about principle. So now let me ask you this. If the FBI showed up at your door tomorrow, wrong address, wrong name, wrong everything, should they walk away scot-free because of a mistake? Or should every American, no matter who they are, have the right to hold the government accountable? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you believe justice and accountability still matter in this country, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Because stories like this need to be told, and truth deserves a louder voice.